bringing you the latest news from Liberty Athletics. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. This is the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score, and we are going to talk Liberty girls basketball. We just talked a little bit about their playoff game, and that's a lot of haze in the barn. They have done a lot of – them and Memorial both have kind of handled business. It's been fun to watch the two games against each other. Morgan Glaspie's here with me. You guys will not have to play it off because one of you is clearly the big school ones, and it wouldn't make any sense. You just get to go and be the number one seed. So that said, I can't remember if I've talked to you. So I know I talked to Jason about this because so much is already sort of decided. Now, you still have to take care of business if you want to be a co-champion in your district, but I've gotten to know you a little bit. I don't think this is a problem. How do you make sure that the girls stay locked in, focused this week, last week, and this week to kind of have that head of steam going into the playoffs?
I think it's just the way you control practice. Even, we were off Friday, and even in the weeks where it feels like, you haven't played in a little bit or, just it's our last district game. We might have won big the first time. You just have to make practice as intense as you want everything. So, we're kind of adding some stuff for the playoffs, and we've tried to keep it aggressive that way. And, we have a salty little JV team, and I feel like we have 12 players. Ava can't play, but the 11 that we do have can go against each other and kind of battle it out a little bit. So, but our JV comes in and, they're staying even when their season's done tomorrow to give us kind of a scouting team. And so we just try to keep our legs fresh and stay away from injuries. But we try to, scrimmaging or whatever we're working on, screening, defense, whatever it is, as intense as possible, and just constant reminders of what you're working for.
You have a salty group after your first five, too. Mm-hmm, that probably doesn't hurt either.
You can mix them up. You can mix them up randomly. You can put starters. You can change a couple of them, and it's a pretty big battle back and forth no matter what you're doing. So,
you also got to have your first senior night.
First senior night.
What was that like? Because I remember talking to Caitlin in the fall, and she was like, "I don't want to do this. I don't want those seniors."
I have a pretty special group of seniors.
Yes, you do.
They're great kids, and with the addition of Cameron and Presley and Micah, this has been the same crew for all 3 years. So they're pretty special to me. They're special to each other. They've really, it hasn't been, I think what's special about them, and it's a testament to kind of the commitment we have to each other, is we didn't win every game. We might not have had a winning record. We were 500 the last 2 years pretty much, and even in the bad times it was still pretty good in our situation. So I think they're special for that reason, because it wasn't about, our program wasn't just great because we were winning. It was just great because of the relationship we all had with each other.
Well, it's been fun to watch them and your program, because that first year looks like a young program.
Yeah. Did
some good things, but weren't sure exactly how to pull it all together. Last year, pulled it together. We were just talking about that first playoff game. Came down to the wire. You lose at the buzzer to a very veteran Brock team. With that girl had, if I remember, I saw something that she was one of the leading scorers in school history. And if you're saying that about playing at Brock, that's you've accomplished a little bit.
The talent she had, that last shot she made was a very skilled shot.
It was a lot of will, not just skill. It was, give me the ball, I'm going to go do this. So, now it's your turn. No pressure.
Yeah.
You're playing Glen Rose, and looking at Max Preps, if that's accurate, they're 20-15. They're the number 3 in their district. It actually plays out pretty naturally the way things play out, because you guys are playing the team that's in third place. Mm-hmm. Memorial's going to play the team that's clearly in fourth place. I guess it's pretty close there. And then your other two teams are playing the top two teams. So it kind of plays out the way it would naturally without the split. Playing Glen Rose is kind of a dirty word at your school a little bit with the boys' side.
Brock and Glen Rose. Sour taste in our mouth.
You don't want your girls looking too far ahead. You went and scouted a little bit. Do you have them start thinking about it a little bit, or do you want them not thinking ahead?
I don't think you get them thinking about it, but I think that what we do is so, we don't have to change a lot. Our defense, we just adjust to the little adjustments to the team we're playing. And, we've had to play such good teams this year that we know how to adjust to a best player. We know how to adjust to ball screens. So it's not like we're looking ahead. We're just, working on things that we're going to have to do against the teams we're going to see the next couple of rounds and even the first round with Glen Rose. So you don't put it in their ear that they're looking ahead, but you can start kind of adding some stuff and emphasizing some things that you're going to see and that they need to pay attention to.
With Jonathan Gomez, which just in here, the Memorial boys, a little bit rougher road down the stretch for them because they play two teams, one team that they're fighting for a playoff spot with, and then your boys, and then you finish with a winnable game. It's a little bit different for you. You don't have Memorial or Estacado this last. You had Estacado last, so you played them towards the end. Sometimes, to me, high school kids, especially now that you've been there for a few years, that second game, if they know that they handled them the first time, it can be a little bit tricky. Playing somebody new's got to be something that they're looking forward to.
They are, and I think, our first year, we had a decent team. We were just, the third place team in our district went and won a state championship that year, so we kind of got thrown into the fire being in 3A and in that division, and, Abernathy had Michaela Marshall and Shallowater, and so I think there's the growth they've had the last 2 years, and being so close last year against Brock, they kind of have that sour taste in their mouth where they're just prepared and they're ready, and they have some, they're just older, wiser, more mature, so they're ready to get going.
And you guys benefited from a new team in your district, just like Tony Wagner said earlier tonight. It's helped to have Liberty in the district with Estacado the last few years, and Memorial to a degree, but having Memorial in your district, that helped you guys this year.
Yes.
Lost to them the first time. Great game with them the second time. You've seen a team that's as good as anybody you're going to see for a little bit in the playoffs at least.
It just prepared us for, they run a great zone. They have a lot of pressure. They play fast. So we can still watch that film and just take some things we need to work on or some things we can be better at, even though we did win the second time. And so it still taught us a lot and, just woke us up to a couple of things but you're right. I think it's one of the best teams that we would see in the playoffs. So it definitely prepared us for what's about to happen.
Coming up on a break, maybe we'll talk a little bit if you've watched film of the Brock game, because you want your girls to see how well they played, but how it ended as well. So we'll come back. We'll talk more Liberty Patriots, Lady Patriots basketball after this break on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Liberty athletics. You're listening to the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back into the High School Fan Zone. If you're watching on TV, I'm glad that Morgan's here, so you don't have to stare at me. You can look over that direction and let her. She's much smarter and much easier to look at on that side of the screen. That's on Fox News Now, and we're also on 100.7 The Score there. I'm more bearable on radio. We're talking about her team that is really good. Her team, you can watch them however you want because they're fun to watch. We were just talking about this. You guys have been different this year. A couple of freshmen have made a big difference. How many games in was the Idalou game?
5.
Okay, because I had not seen the first, busy with football, but that first game I saw at Idalou, and you guys lost, and that's a very good Idalou team. But the thing that struck me, and every time I've seen you since then, so two freshmen from that, the first time I saw them, were fearless, and they've remained fearless. It's fun to watch them because, I don't know, do they know how good they are right now? Do they know how good they're going to be?
Yeah, their personalities, though, they have really good personalities.
Mm-hmm. Very different.
And they're real sweet girls, and they're very outgoing. So I think they know the talent they have, but I think they're just so sweet-natured and that it's not a boastful thing. It's just that's what I'm supposed to do. So, I think they just learned before you get to this level and you learn the system of things, you're able to be aggressive because in middle school or even AAU or whatever it is, you can play with 3 fouls in the first half, or not a huge deal if you might foul out. But I think they both figured out, you can't get in foul trouble for silly fouls. And I feel like from that game on, they've done a way better job. Still being aggressive, but, in the right moments and at the right times and playing defense with our hands off and just the little things you have to learn that matter, like Micah. She's quick, She can get after him on defense. She likes to get steals, but, we've just learned when to get the steal and when to not foul. And, we have to have a point guard on the floor. So they've both just really picked up on kind of the system we want, and they've done a good job maturing for us.
I should name them, Micah Henderson and Presley Romero. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Micah, who's both of them, the motor's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think I remember being 14 and 15 and just going. Presley has no idea that she's usually the smallest person on the court. She sticks her nose in there. She's fearless. And then Micah, I'm not sure she understands that she's playing with a lot of older girls who have done this for a while. What you said there, in middle school, first of all, you don't get called for charges very often because nobody is going to step in front of you and take a charge. Well, she plays a position where people are going to try to draw charges, and she's gotten better at not being pulled into that.
Yes. It's just, Presley, as off the court, is probably one of the stronger, more athletic ones. But you're right. She's mean on the floor, and she's not afraid of anything, and she's fearless in her shooting ability, which is good. When we talked to her the first year, that was one of her strengths. I told her that our team needed was to come in and hit big shots. Micah too, that's kind of the system I'm talking about, is learning how to be, that fast-paced. She can get up and down the floor. Her ball handling is very advanced. So when people do step in front to take charge, and, we've looked at on film, this is a good shot. Some of those shots, you can take in middle school and, different levels, but is this a good shot or a bad shot, or is there another option? Not telling you not to shoot, but you did a great job getting to the basket. Now what decision do I need to make? So she's really listened, and they both do. I mean, I can't speak enough on the kids they are and how easy they are to be around. So they just stepped in and added to the big personality of our team.
Now, the other side of that, of young players having a big role, is you've got to have older players who accept them and embrace them. And your older girls in particular are very, when I watch, are very even-keeled and are the kind of girls that will do that. And you can just kind of see that they've opened their arms and said, come on, young players, let's go and make this happen.
It's hard for high school girls to, give up not open shots, but we just have we have so many threats this year on the floor, and they know that, and so they're just so selfless with each other. Tuesday night, they knew that Abby needed a certain amount of points, and I literally had to call a timeout and say, we're going to get her there, but I need the rest of you to shoot, because they were just so intent on that. Yep. And one thing that I kept watching over and over is when she did get her 1,000th point, and it's just really cool. Some girls who have the ability to score 20 were jumping up and down cheering because she did, and they're so encouraging of each other, and that's hard to find with high school girls, to not worried about what I did, but what we did together.
And come back and talk about your glue players, because those usually are my favorite players to watch, and you've got a lot of those. So Liberty Lady Patriots are headed to the playoffs. Got one more regular season game to take care of before that happens. We'll talk more about that playoff game when we come back in the Patriot Fan Zone on the High School Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Your inside look into Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Again, we have one more segment of the Patriot. One more segment, right, Brendan? I kept trying to end the show last Wednesday way too soon because I had athletic directors up here that were doing all the talking, so I was just listening to them. That's three pretty smart dudes you get up here. When you got Mike Meeks, Max Catwinkle, and Brian Gerlich.
Yeah.
Just get them to talk. I just stayed out of the way. It's kind of like when some of your older girls get up here. I just let them go because Abby and Alyssa in particular. Reagan, I've known Reagan since before she was born. I still don't know that she knows exactly. She knows we get along off camera. When she gets up here, I'm not sure she knows exactly what I'm doing up here. So she's probably not the only one. So a lot of those girls I just mentioned have been around since day one, since a fledgling program kind of gained its feet in District 2 3A. Was a really good team last year in District 5 4A, and now is even better. I did not check the TABC rankings today. I got too wrapped up in some other stuff. I know that doesn't matter, but I'm assuming you guys are right there. You and Memorial are right there. which is cool.
Yeah.
For a third-year program, for a first-year program, for any team in West Texas, 4A and above that means you guys have gained some respect.
Yeah, I thought it was cool, when the rankings first came out. We've been ranked all year, and so I really didn't expect much. I knew they deserved it. So when those rankings first came out, and you can start sending stuff in after, but it was kind of cool to see their name there and just the attention they deserve from where they started to where they've gotten and the commitment they've given. So I think it's cool for them to see that.
And it's West Texas girls basketball is going to get a little bit of respect for just what has occurred through the years. But what really gains respect is what you guys do starting next week. Mm-hmm. And this is, you guys have, I remember talking to Caitlin and the volleyball girls. This is kind of what they built up for those first 2 years. And same with you guys. You got to the playoffs last year, lost the heartbreaker. I told you I was going to ask you, have you watched that video much?
I have.
And you want to learn from it.
Yes.
You want to learn from every loss, but that one.
I kind of watch it because it's not like we played bad.
No.
And then, got lucky at the end. I think what bothers me the most is watching them play so well and so hard, and just they, did our scouting report exactly like we planned it. And so to see them fall short after doing literally everything they were asked was really hard. So I turned it on the other day just to watch and kind of be reminded of where we were and where we are now. And, that I just told myself, you try not to get nervous. And I used to make fun of my dad for not eating on game days or just those little things. And now I get it completely. But I kind of watched it just to, tell myself, like, they are ready. And I tell them that too, like, you're prepared for everything you're going to see. And I just feel a lot calmer this year. I feel like they know what's coming, and it gave them that bitter taste in their mouth where I really think that they're excited for this little playoff sprout, and they're going to have a really good postseason.
That was your first game as a head coach,
yeah.
Coaching up. So there's
and I was 40 weeks pregnant.
Yes,
so.
You were way pregnant. I saw something. I was watching a show or something the other day, and this woman's 37 weeks pregnant. I turned to my wife. I said, I had nothing on Morgan. Morgan was 3 days later, 2 days later?
2 days later. Okay. We went home to, we lost Monday, went home Tuesday, talked to the girls at school, and then, later that night I told my husband, like, something's happening, and I went into labor in the middle of the night that night.
There you go. So again, TV show had nothing on Morgan Glaspie. But there's something to be said for you going through that, and your assistant coach is going through that the first time. Now you know how to manage getting ready, but also that hour and a half. You know how to do things a little bit differently, and your girls will feed off of that.
I think we just have the most coachable kids, I feel like. They just do so much better when they're prepared, and that's my job, is to prepare them. So, I never worry about the skill, or I know that they're going to be some of the most talented young ladies on the floor. Some of the things that I get nervous about are, did I prepare them? Do I have them ready for whatever they're going to see? Can we adjust if they're not? So, I just hope, and I know that they are prepared, they are ready. We've done everything to get to that point, and that's just what I have to trust now. And that my assistants, us, we've made them confident in what we've taught them so far, and our defense will carry us however far we go, and they're so talented that they'll carry us in our offensive schemes however far we go. So I think that's the difference this year, is just the calmness and how prepared they are, and just them going into it confident.
And I'll say again, a lot of that goes back to Abby Dallas and Reagan Wren and Alyssa Ferguson and their personalities. I forgot to talk about my glue players, so we'll have to talk about them later. The Cameron Weatherly and Bailey Filling, and the girls who don't get up a lot of headlines but do big things. We're going to have Morgan on again because they're going to be live in the playoffs for several weeks. So we'll be back Wednesday in the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score.